We are literally a block away from PNC Park. We're 5 minutes away from Heinz Field. This used to actually be downtown Pittsburgh. This was Allegheny City, and this was before like Carnegie and the Steel Barons and all the history that goes along with that. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now. This is like old school Pittsburgh in some sense. So yeah, I mean, Union Fitness started as basically an amenity. We're sitting in the fitness center, and this was going to be all that was designed and built out from the get-go. So this was designed to be an outlet for people that are here during work hours. We're trying to feel those hours out, right? Like, how do we best accommodate these people? But in addition to that, we had extra space. We had about 3,000 square feet on the back, and they didn't have an office plan. So it was like, we got to have people here, right? And a place to relax and enjoy their workspace. So we threw the office in, and I said, look, we can spend an extra 10% and potentially revenue-wise do much better on the back end as a result. Plus that it was selfish, right? It was what I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to create a staff around that, a staff that could be more engaged, really. And that worked out really well. People took to it. And where we were a little bit unique was we centered a lot of our stuff around strength. It wasn't, not CrossFit, not cardio, but look, you can reach some of your goals by doing a lot of strength-based movements in our barbell class, basically. Again, we focused everything on, we started with strength-based. Why? Well, it was me and 2 other staff members, and that's what I knew and that's what I liked. But I knew that was useful to other people. So it was a matter of just selling that and just saying, look, come in and try it. Let's see how it goes. So the cool part about the Strength Lab is we have, I would say, more women than men back there, at least 50-50, which is great because a lot of times men or women will walk in and say, this is intimidating. And it can be, it's a lot. There's a lot going on, especially if you walk in on a Saturday. We have a couple of 900-pound squatters and a couple of 500-pound benchers, so that's a lot. And we recognize that, but every day we strive to be as inclusive as possible. I try to have conversations with everybody, every member that walks in. And I fail to do that. That's hard to do all the time. And that's where I challenge myself to be a little bit better. But so back to the class offering piece, we have Powerful is our barbell class. It is, there's a Metcon at the end, right? We want people to feel like they got a good sweat in, and we'll take 5, 10, 15 minutes at the end of a workout and really just, I don't want to say run them into the ground, but give them something to go home and be tired about. But it centers around squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press. We teach the basics. It's not, you're gonna hit 80% today and go up. No, I mean, let's figure out where you need to be today. So it's not personal training, but it's pretty damn close. So that's one of our strengths, and that's why we approach it the way that we do. We also offered, we call it Fat Bell Revolution. So instead of a traditional kettlebell class, we use the fat bells, partially because they're back there as dumbbells for us as well, but they're really easy to teach people how to do kettlebell movements. You don't have the kettlebell banging you in the back of the wrist, or some of the negatives that are associated with kettlebells. So that is more of a strength-based. It's a 50-50 strength and cardio style class. It's high intensity. It's a lot of volume, a lot of reps. So that's kind of a good way to ease people into, I'm not sure what I want to do, because you don't have to go heavy, right? It's not a barbell, it's not intimidating, and it's as simple as bending over and picking up a lighter one. So that works for a lot of beginners. And we have a Bodyweight Bootcamp class, and as a staff, Rachel programs a lot of those, and she does a great job with them. It's always on the fly. Depending on how many people she gets or who she gets, she'll throw in, battle ropes, a lot of sled pushes or carries, a lot of body weight movements, box jumps, those kind of things. So I don't want to call it a life skills class, but it's get up and move around and see what that feels like. So the other side, outside of the strength lab, we have the cardio lab, and we tried spin for about a year, and nobody wanted to do it, which I wouldn't want to be on a bike for 45 minutes either. So we took the bikes, we added some skiers and some ski ergs, or some rowers and some ski ergs. And it's a 45-minute class, it's a HIIT style class. And actually a lot of our power lifters, I shouldn't say a lot, a handful of our power lifters will supplement their training with some of that stuff. It's a low impact workout, and it's a good way to mindlessly get your cardio in. So on top of that, we do some yoga, we do some restorative stuff, a little bit of power flow stuff, but the basics really, just to offer. We're not a yoga studio, right? So we want people to have the ability to get some of that in without being intimidated by it. So why Elite FTS equipment? Again, I was really comfortable with the people there. The athletes were welcoming and wanted to pass on information. Besides that, any of the Elite FTS equipment that I used was awesome. Any of the barbells, I think one of the first monoliths I squatted on was one of the Elite FTS monoliths. Again, everywhere I saw it, it was good. It was just good stuff. Not that money's not an issue, or you have to go cheap or have to go expensive, or that's not, the point being, all the stuff I saw there they had was quality. And for me, it was like, this stuff doesn't go bad, right? So like, how can I get the most bang for my buck? But then be a little bit custom with it and creative and inventive, and have that back and forth, especially with Matt, and say, Matt, here's what I need. This is what I'm looking at, and kind of walk you through the process. And yeah, that was really important, because I can be honest with Matt, right? Matt knows I don't own a fucking gym. So, you know, I can lean on Matt, who has created all these other spaces for other people, and I can trust him. I had a couple, and not to speak poorly about, you know, Cybex or any of those companies. They're just big companies. And you sit and have a conversation with, I want to do a barbell class, and they're like, okay, great, we can give you, you know, these bumper plates and this. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. So, you know, Matt, it was easy with Matt and Elite FTS because the vision's already there. So for me, it was why Elite FTS? Engagement, trust, quality. Those are probably the three biggest ones. Just comfortability, just knowing what I'm knowing that I'm getting what I'm gonna pay for. And I had a couple things break, totally minor, like a pulley or whatever else. And I asked Matt, and within 3 or 4 days, all that stuff shipped in. It's taken care of. So yeah, that's so not even just the support in the beginning, but continued support has been great for us. So unfortunately, the compound is big, and if you go to, we have to use 100 South Commons as our address, and that puts you in front of the building. You can park in the garage and come up to see us. The other option is 4 Allegheny Square. It's in the back. That's where you can walk right up and see us. So if you're in the area, that's always best, 4 Allegheny Square. If you're not, email us at join@unionfitness.com, or you can email me, cwilliams@unionfitness.com. Those are the easiest ways to go about it. Come see us in person, because a lot of times too, our memberships are a little bit, I don't want to say tricky, but they can be confusing. We have 2 different rooms and 2 different memberships within each room. But the reason we do it that way is so people don't pay for stuff they don't want to use. We want to make sure they're getting value out of you know, even if it's $20 a month, that's a lot of money that adds up, and that's important to people. So we try to be as flexible as possible with that, and you know, engage people. So they will ask, like, oh, I saw on your website you have such and such, and they're like, well, what does that include? What does that include? Well, both spaces have a free weight section. What are you most interested in, right? Like so it kind of just depends. That's where we do encourage people to come in and see it, and see what makes sense.